Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out Smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats. I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a knack for making things better. Face facts, 'cause your opinion don't matter. It's a maniac.
I always love when Eric Bischoff comes back so I can play his music for the intro. Welcome, everybody, to the War Report podcast. Vince is having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
He sounds like a fucking robot over there.
Oh, no. That's bad.
Yeah.
My microphone doesn't sound good?
It sounds good at this very moment.
Okay.
Tyra, hello. I'm assuming that's you. Once again, it just says Facebook user. But everybody, welcome to the War Report. Eric Bischoff makes a return to Raw, which I got to say right off the bat, in no particular order, of course, that might be one of the best WWE weddings I've seen in a long time. And we'll get into it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, everyone, welcome to the War Report. We got a lot to cover as always. We got some Dynamite. We've got some AEW shit. We got some WWE shit. We got day one approaching. How's everybody doing, Vince? What's going on over there, buddy?
Much. I think I've got my issue sorted. You can hear me all right?
It sounds all right now. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I think we're good.
Too far into it here. Tara's niece Olivia has birthday today. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
I'm sure we mentioned that because
happy birthday, Olivia!
Told us, so happy birthday if you are listening. Otherwise, Tara, you can show her the recording. Well wishes from the War Report here, and welcome to this week's edition of the War Podcast, brought to you by Tag Me a Date.
All right, I don't know if anyone else can hear this, but Vince, you're now echoing.
Oh, my echoey. That's
yeah. You kind of sound like Max from Back to the Future too. Beep 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 beep.
Oh no!
Now it stopped.
I don't know how much that. We'll figure it out.
But yeah. So
Steve, if you want to take over for opening the show up and
yeah. Go do you. Well, I don't know. I figure why don't we start with a little Smackdown? That's what I was thinking. I thought Smackdown was actually good again this week. I did. I enjoyed Smackdown. I think Smackdown has been a decent show lately. I like how also Eddie, get better soon. Not feeling great tonight. So wish you all the best, man. Feel better. But obviously still checking out the show. That's cool. But yeah, so I think SmackDown has still been a pretty decent show. It started off with Toni Storm and Charlotte for the women's title. Well, actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't it start with the backstage interview with Braxton and Peyman?
Yes.
That's how it started.
Correct.
So anytime you start with a serious type of Heyman sit down, you know it's going to be good. I didn't think it was too long. I thought Heyman was great as always. And now kind of setting up that whole, what's maybe this is it. What else is there for me? He's but I have a feeling there's some big swerve coming. This is obviously not the last we've seen of Paul Heyman. What did you guys think of that sit down with Braxton?
You can't go wrong with a Paul Heyman segment. And I agree with you 100% that you said that is going to be a swerve of some sorts, because the turn the week before, I love you too, my tribal chief, but you're fired, which still I think was classic. It has to set up for something, because it just can't be a simple match at day one, at least in my opinion.
I think he's still with Roman.
I agree.
I think he's turning on Brock.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a setup by the Samoan dynasty. Absolutely.
Double swerve. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it does play out. But again, I'm always kind of, especially lately, I kind of shit on WWE quite a bit in the fact that we never start with like directly into a match.
Yeah.
And it could be like a promo that's half an hour long, things like that. So I think it was short, it was sweet, it was to the point, it was Heyman. So again, it's great. And then it goes right into Charlotte Toni Storm championship match, which
was a really good match.
I gotta say this, I enjoyed the match. I think in the end, I think Toni is going to beat Charlotte for the title. I think that's what this is setting up. But I gotta tell you, and I don't know if it's just me, but the matches with her and Charlotte, the two that we've had so far, have been sloppy as hell. And I feel like a lot of it is on Toni Storm. I don't know.
Charlotte tried to hit Andrade's double moonsault deal and was very happy with that.
She's botched that twice now.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, she's
take
fucked
that out
that
of
up.
the old arsenal. I think it just could be that they're both very good.
You're still robot.
Yeah.
I think what Vince is trying to say is they're both really, really good. And then I think part of the issue is just the timing between the two of them. They haven't found, we're so used to seeing Charlotte being in a match and it's like clockwork, like between her and Sasha and whoever. I think these two just haven't found their niche yet, but the work that they're doing together is really good, at least in my opinion.
I like the story. And I like the story that they're telling, and I'm not shitting on Toni Storm by any means. I happen to like Toni Storm, but I just feel like the last few matches have looked a little sloppy, and I feel like the majority of the sloppiness has come from Toni Storm. I agree with the botch Andrade moonsault. She's fucked that up twice in a row. So maybe that is something that she should kind of take out of the repertoire. But
you think it might be the nerves of Toni Storm, maybe because she's up on the main roster and being in the ring with Charlotte?
That could 100% be it. Absolutely. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. Is it though? I don't know. Maybe it is. And she's a great talent. So I think Absolutely. If it is the jitters, we're going to see that come through pretty quickly, and she's going to start to get comfortable and be the Toni Storm that we're used to seeing in NXT.
Right. Well, don't forget, though, she actually had a lot of time off between her NXT and coming up.
Right. That's true.
To SmackDown. She wasn't being utilized for at least a good 3-4 months. Easy.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean she wasn't working house shows. So if you're
different than being on live TV on SmackDown.
Well, yeah, but I thought you were talking more of like a ring rust type of situation.
That too, but ring rust plays a factor because, house shows, you work them, but you don't always work them at 100%. But I think like I said, it might be just me, but I think it has to do with maybe just the nerves of being on, holy shit, I'm in the fucking ring with Charlotte Flair. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it's possible in any scenario. Hopefully she'll get comfortable and things will start to come through. Because again, she is a great talent. So, but listen, how many of them sucked, in the beginning? And then, Trish Stratus is a prime example.
Absolutely.
And then look how far she came. So listen, anything's possible. There's only few that really can't turn it around. There's only a few that have the Eva Marie syndrome. Right. Exactly. Yep. You pulled it out of my mouth. That's where I was headed. They did put together a phenomenal video package of Heyman recapping his entire career. One thing that WWE always hits a home run with are those video packages and promos and things like that. So I was very, very happy with that package. It was just very well done. And then overall, the match with Flair, I thought was great. It definitely opened it to continue.
Absolutely.
So again, I think they're gonna, and then we moved into the 12 Days of Christmas Gauntlet match, which took up a lot of time. I think it went to 3 commercial breaks. In the end, the last person in was the last man standing, Sami Zayn. I'm okay with Sami Zayn, but there was a point I actually thought Ricochet was going to pull it out. And, it would be like one of those, it's about fucking time you give this kid a real shot here.
Exactly. I don't have a problem with Sami Zayn winning, but Ricochet had the crowd. He had the momentum. He pulled some shit out of his pocket in that match, too.
Yeah.
Some of the moves he did, I was like, where the fuck did that come from? He pulled out brand new stuff for that match.
Ricochet is very good. And
I know.
It's his size that kills him.
Yeah, and his mic skills.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I've
said that for a long time.
Because he could be such a huge market talent. Like, if he just, I hate to say it, was a little bit bigger and could talk.
Yeah.
They built in managers.
Yeah, but the issue is then, though, but how many faces have actual managers now, though?
Turn a meal.
You really, I don't know if he could pull that off.
You know what? I thought he would have been a great addition to the Hurt Business. That's kind of like, I felt like that would have been a great opportunity for him to turn heel.
Yeah.
And see if he could pull it off. I think if anybody that can really help him is a guy like MVP. So I think that was a lost opportunity to at least try it and see. I mean, how many times have you flip-flop guys in a month's time? So if it didn't work, you can easily say, oh, he was really never going to be with them all along, kind of thing. Take him apart from the inside out kind of story.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But
yeah. I will agree with you. I was happy that Sammy won.
Yeah. Sammy's been doing a lot of great stuff lately. And both in ring, mic work, the gimmick. I mean, I love him. He's such an asshole.
A lot of great work all along. They just haven't been utilizing him for it.
Yeah, but this particular run as this cocky, arrogant heel conspiracy theory, like this particular gimmick is really connecting with me, where I'm enjoying him a lot more because of it. He's always been great in the ring, but I like this Sami Zayn. I like the look, the hair. I love everything about it.
I agree. Yep. And then it's interesting that now Sami Zayn did get the spot that he's going against Shinsuke when Sami Zayn used to manage Shinsuke.
What'd you say?
I said it's interesting now that the match is going to be between Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura when Sami Zayn actually not that long ago was Shinsuke Nakamura's manager.
Yeah, well, that was kind of a short-lived bullshit thing. Right? That didn't go very long. I think that went maybe a month. And that was...
No, it went longer than a month.
Did it? I don't know.
Yeah. The thing with Shinsuke, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro, that went for quite a few months. It went through almost all the Intercontinental title reign, the last one.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that long, but that's very possible. I probably wiped it out of my memory. So, moving on, we had the Miracle on 34th Street. Drew McIntyre and the New Day versus Madcap Moss and the Usos. I really didn't give a shit. I don't like this Baron Happy Corbin shit. I don't like it at all. I liked it better when he was broke. Yeah, I liked him better when he was broke and just down and out. And there's a horrible echo again.
Shit. Okay.
Now it's on you too, though.
That's probably on my end, right?
I think it's on Vince's. Yeah, because now he's just muted. So, but absolutely fucking horrible. I'm not a fan, but it was a fun match, I guess. But I didn't really give a shit. But in the end, obviously McIntyre New Day took home the win. And that was
King Woods momentum.
Yeah. And that was your main event, I believe. I think that was really all of SmackDown. Anything else anyone want to add in regards to SmackDown?
I don't.
The question that I had was going to be like, it's going to
Much better, by the way.
Raw. Okay, good. So here, my kind of question is, why do we? Is it just because SmackDown is 2 hours and Raw is 3, or what is the fundamental reason that we always compliment SmackDown and find things to criticize about Raw?
Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Charlotte,
Brock Lesnar.
Brock, yeah, the talent.
So stacked the deck basically.
But I listen, I think both brands have a fair share of top tier talent. I think the hour is a big part of it. That third hour is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that third hour is what kills them. I really do. I think that's what gives the SmackDown the advantage.
And the commentary on SmackDown is far superior than Raw's.
And the other thing about Raw is like Big E compared to Roman Reigns loses a lot.
Who loses a lot?
Big E, the champion.
Well, but he wins the big ones.
Yeah, but it doesn't like he doesn't look as like dominant as Roman Reigns does.
I'm sorry, who, Big E?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. This is not the championship win with the Money in the Bank cash-in was fantastic. What they've done with him since he won.
Exactly. It's been over 100 days since he won the title, and it doesn't really feel like he's done much.
I don't know. I don't know. I like, yes, I think part of me agrees with you, but I think the other part of me says it's been enough. I don't know. I'm enjoying Big E as champion. I don't know if I'm being a little biased because I'm enjoying the fact that it's Big E that's the champ. You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not having an issue. Big E winning was well-deserved and well-needed. He needed that push. He deserves it for everything that he's done. I just
100%
think
he deserved it. 100%.
They're not showcasing him as the champion. Like, I mean, Bobby Lashley was defending every other week and destroying his opponents and everything like that. How many title fences has Big E really had?
Well, that's a fair question because it hasn't been very many.
He's not defending it. Drew McIntyre was defending it all the time too. He's not really defending.
Well, but let's keep something in mind. That's not Big E's fault, right?
No, I'm not saying none of this is Big E's fault.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. Like, there's what is the logic with the writers and Vince as to why he's not being a champion that defends as often as someone like McIntyre did. You know, the faces are the ones that typically defend it more than the heels. The heels always figure out a way to slither their way out of it until the bigger show, you know, for the most part. So I don't know, but it's a fair question.
Yep, that's part of the issue, I think.
Because it's just frustrating. Monday Night Raw has been on for what, 30 years?
Mm-hmm.
And it's their flagship show, and it's just been the last couple of years since even before that time. What was it, 3 years ago? They had that thing about you're the authority now, we're going to listen to the fans. And even before that, things were kind of on the downturn. So, like, Raw has just been rough, really, since what? Since, like, right around when Ronda left? Since I don't know when. I can't pinpoint exactly when things started to...
It's in that ballpark. I mean, it's definitely like all of those things you mentioned was definitely in or around about the time that shit really started to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate to see Raw kind of flounder, and I guess that late hour probably is the killer. But I don't know. I guess if you have an extra hour, you should be having longer matches. Like, I don't know what the solution is. Like, their matches only ever go 5 and 10 minutes. The women's matches go 3 or 4 minutes. It's like
here's what I think is part of the problem. you have a 3-hour show. So you have an hour more of a show than SmackDown, but you don't have more wrestling.
Yes,
So that's a problem. The stories are pretty stale and shitty. The same people are wrestling the same people.
Yeah.
I think they have to we need more Austin Theories, and we need more young guys, Damian Priest and things like
from NXT on Monday. I guess.
Yeah, but was that just a filler because they had so many guys are out now with COVID, unfortunately, or were exposed to?
And that's kind of a new. I guess if you haven't been following along, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but like everybody has COVID just about.
Well, now hold on. Other than Seth Rollins, because he said it, I haven't heard the rest actually say it, but the report was either have it or have been in contact with somebody that has. So just to be clear, because some people are private about it.
All have it, but they've been in contact. And the Madison Square Garden show, a lot of matches got pulled and rearranged. NXT talent was flown in. Edge was flown in from Madison Square Garden. And then they had to do a short-staffed Monday Night Raw. So you saw a couple NXT guys. Grayson Waller, I think is his name, challenging AJ after AJ split with Omos. And
to stop you for 1 second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
I'm really pissed off about something that I found out about Madison Square Garden.
Oh, what happened?
And I don't understand how this is not something that should and always be a top fucking priority for WWE. That fucking psychopath that jumped Seth Rollins on the rampway was in attendance at Madison Square Garden and posted pictures with him being there. How the fuck does that happen?
Get out of here.
How does that happen? As a talent, that tells me you don't give a fuck about my security, because how the fuck how do you let the Garden let him in?
You've got to have that guy's picture at security when you go to events. I mean, it's not uncommon. They have pictures of people and names of people that can't get allowed in. It's a very standard kind of thing. So,
and somebody like this should never be allowed to attend a show ever again.
No, I think that was the thing. I think he was banned from him.
He was banned.
He bought the tickets under a different name, or
this past Sunday at the WWE Holiday Tour at Madison Square Garden, this son of a bitch was there.
God.
Yeah, and he was posting on Twitter about it. I thought since he posted on Twitter about it and people saw it, that maybe somebody in WWE would have been alerted, or within Madison Square Garden would have been alerted that this crazy guy who assaulted someone was there and do something about it. But it turns out that I guess not. They didn't.
Since there are so many sick people, why wasn't it addressed? I think the reason why it wasn't addressed is because there are people that may not want it out in the public that they did in fact test positive, and they have the right to say, I do not want it publicly disclosed. And by law, and I think it does fall into HIPAA laws.
Correct.
Legally, unless that superstar says I'm okay with it, you can't address it. So that's why.
Yep. The only thing that they're allowed to do is they have to report it to their bosses, and then contact tracing then has to begin or anything like that. But it does not have to be publicly disclosed to the public, because it has nothing to do with the public if they're in attendance in the arena or anything like that.
Right. And I think the only public people that have a right to know are if they were exposed by this person, and then they're told separately behind closed doors.
Correct. That's the whole contact tracing thing. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of, that guy who just walked by looks like he's got all kinds of COVID. Holy shit.
That was Justin. He said you look like you got fucking COVID. Like all kinds of COVID the way you walking around.
Did you get the vid?
They're just getting back at you with half the shit you put in the chat.
Did you get the vid?
Not worse later.
Did he get the vid?
Yeah.
No vid.
But even just the Madison Square Garden thing, by the way, I do have some other. You were there. Not that I don't know how many people listen to the show were actually at the Madison Square Garden show. I saw a post on Reddit that a family of people who attended Madison Square Garden WWE show on Christmas also have tested positive today for COVID. So not that they got it at the show, but they were in fact sick at the show. So if you were at the Madison Square Garden show, it's better safe than sorry. I would say go get tested.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because apparently it was a family like 4 or 5 people that all went, and then they all tested positive like today, and then they posted on Reddit, which is nice that they posted on Reddit to give everybody a warning. But just doing my public service announcement over here.
Doing my public service.
I mean, if somebody listens and they were there, I would hope that they would go get tested now, because that's pretty bad.
Gotta do what you gotta do in this.
Raw, you want to go on a Rampage, Christmas night Rampage.
All right, let's do that, Kate. You got a lot of background noise.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I mean,
Rampage.
She's got a lot of people in the background. She's got a whole house full.
That's right. Your parents came.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But I got kids. Pete Slater.
I got kids.
But these ones are all mine.
So AEW Rampage.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Before we jump to Rampage.
Yep.
Raw. There was something I wanted to address.
Okay, cool.
And I just remembered. RK Bro is still the shit.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
The promo, the fake RKO at the end was amazing. And then you see Randy go, "I love you, bro." And like they hugged it out. The promo in the beginning where Riddle's like, "I learned from a higher, like he just made a ton of references and whatever. It was just very well done. I enjoyed that thoroughly. And the wedding, with the return of Bischoff doing the officiating, and then, at the end he says, "Now if there's anyone, just the hell with it. We all know where this is headed." And then Edge's music hit.
Acknowledged it.
Right. Like everything was perfect. The vows were great. Like the whole thing was great. So that was that was one of my more favorite weddings in WWE. So, I mean, overall, there were some things that did hit, but it was still a very long show. Fraser Jenkins, hello, sir.
Hey-o.
Thank you for checking us out on Facebook. We appreciate it, and welcome. But yeah, so now we can move on to Rampage, unless there's anything you guys wanted to add. But those were 2 things I wanted to hit on.
Well, the Kevin Owens bit is always good.
Kevin Owens was hysterical through the entire night.
Yep.
I mean, he's fucking awesome.
It would be nice if since they re-signed him and they paid him a lot of money, if they give him I mean, not that he has to beat Big E right now, but I think he should probably be next in line for a title. If he's gonna be here for the next 3 years and you're gonna pay him $2 to $3 million a year, put the title on the guy.
That's my prediction for day
I
one.
mean, listen, now is the perfect time because it's a fatal 4-way. Big E doesn't have to even be involved in the conclusion. So that's kind of cool. As much as I don't necessarily want to see Big E lose already. If he's gonna lose, Kevin Owens is the guy. It should be the guy.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like going to one of the other guys is almost like going backwards.
And if WWE thinks that he's worth $3 million, then he's worth being the face of your company and champion.
Exactly. So, AEW Rampage usually takes place on Friday night, because Friday night was Christmas Eve, and TNT started their annual A Christmas Story Marathon at 8 p.m. Rampage was delayed until the next day. So you can watch Ralphie put his eye out. You can see a very fragile major award, all kinds of things for 24 hours straight.
The best.
And then you get to AEW Rampage,
But don't forget the AEW commercials all through 24 hours of the
Christmas Story themed commercials all the way through. So if you haven't seen those, I'm sure they're on YouTube by now.
They are.
That's awesome.
Watching MJF.
It's nice that they're still promoting it. They promoted it, on TNT, and now this coming Wednesday, tomorrow is going to be the last day that they're on TNT. They're moving to TBS, and TBS seems to be, part of the pun. It seems to be all in on making it a destination for AEW viewers. Wednesday night, they're going to have on TBS Dynamite. Then you're going to have Roads to the Top. Go Big shows on TBS with Cody on there. And Rampage is going to be on Friday on TBS. And then, or is Rampage staying on TNT? Either way, they're putting so much content on TBS that's AEW themed. Very, very happy about that. But Friday or Saturday night, we kicked it off with Layla Hirsch against Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander gets the win with the Spider Crab submission. Fraser Jenkins, I don't like the name Day One. I wish it was Royal Rumble. Yeah, but they wanted so they canceled the December pay-per-view, which is usually what, TLC? I don't even know what the December.
Yeah, I think it was TLC, which sucks because I love the ladder shit. I love the TLC match, but they did. That's what we're still going to get a Rumble.
Right, we're still getting the Royal Rumble, but they're just, instead of the December pay-per-view, which would take place at the end of December, they pushed it forward to the 1st of January, and that's what's taken TLC's place this year. I guess we'll see if it's popular enough that they keep it on the menu for next year. I don't know.
I from what I understand, that they're asking for seat fillers, and they're asking not to disclose that they're being asked to be seat fillers. So from what I understand, they're having a tough time selling tickets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are involved in that. COVID is definitely a concern again, because
it's definitely not because of the card, because it's actually an exciting card.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because some of the matches are actually worth watching for once. Well, especially on the pay-per-view, they always stack the big matches on there. So, it on paper seems like a good show, but there are a lot of things in the real world that might prevent people from going, whether it's having to show a vaccination card or showing a negative test, or just not even wanting to make the trip because they don't want to fly on a plane with people, or they don't want to travel or be in a tightly packed space with people in an arena. So there's a lot of different reasons. Speculation that they could, if things get worse, go back to the Thunderdome. God forbid, but that's still on the table.
Well, unfortunately it's always going to be on the table, until
my kids happy.
Yeah, and it's awful. So hopefully things get better as we plow through the winter here. Things have got worse. Maybe now that they've gotten worse, hopefully this is as low as we go and things start to look back up. But anyway, Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander had a hell of a match. Layla Hirsch should be with Team Taz. Layla Hirsch should be big star, and so should Chris Statlander. She's got a good look. She's tall. She's unique.
I don't like the gimmick, but I do like her.
That's what I'm saying. I think her as a wrestler could.
The whole alien thing, just doesn't work for me. Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. But I am a fan of her. Yes, for sure.
No, she's very. I saw her wrestle on the Indies right before she got signed to AEW, and yeah, she's just a talent. She wrestled on the Indies. She wrestled guys a lot, and she's so big, and she's got those thick legs. Like she's an athlete. Like she's got very much an athlete, like a professional, like volleyball player or something body, where she's just powerful, and like she wrestled guys and threw them around and shit. It was great.
That's awesome.
Isaiah Cassidy tapped out to the snare trap against Jungle Boy. All kinds of interference and this and that. Ending with, again, the snare trap tap out. Isaiah Cassidy, I always kind of thought he was a little sloppy when he first came in, especially that first year when they were wrestling the Young Bucks in that initial tag team tournament and all that. Really, really improved. He's doing so well. And then, Jungle Boy, what else can you say about him? Anytime he comes up in conversation here, I can say nothing but compliments to the kid. He's got a good look.
He's incredible.
He's really proven himself, especially with the guys that he's wrestled recently and the quality of the matches that he's put on. He's, if they're lining him up to beat Cody for the well, I guess we shouldn't. Well, I guess if you haven't seen it yet, maybe they're challenging, having Jungle Boy get ready to challenge for the TNT Championship or do something else, because I really feel like he's on the cusp of breaking out.
Oh yeah.
We've been saying that for a while, but guys like Darby's number got called for the TNT title. That was a big moment. Sammy's number got called for the TNT title. I feel like we're working our way through the pillars here with all this prestige stuff. So maybe Jungle Boy There's kind of a tease that like either Christian is going to manipulate Jungle Boy into turning heel, or Christian is going to try and tempt Jungle Boy to go heel, and Jungle Boy is going to stay babyface, and then he's going to feud with Christian down the line. Mentor versus student kind of thing.
I can see that.
So if that's the case, Christian obviously would have no problem putting over a young guy like that. That's why he came back at 45 years old or whatever it is to, help out the new talent. He's helping him out right now by being a companion. You know how that always turns out when there's a veteran wrestler managing you. There's usually some kind of turn coming. So I really can't wait to see what happens. I think
I really doesn't. Well, I really hope it doesn't happen for a while. I like that group.
It's a slow burn. Yeah, I think
it took a while to grow on me too, and they've won me over for sure.
Oh yeah, I know it's a hard sell with a guy in a giant dinosaur costume and all that shit, but
he's amazing though.
Yeah.
Gimmick aside, I mean, he's one of those guys that you stand there and say he shouldn't be able to do the shit that he does because of his size alone.
And another guy that they passed on in NXT. I mean, he wasn't Luchasaurus. He was whatever his gimmick name was. He wasn't wearing a mask. He didn't get the mask until Lucha Underground. But he was in developmental. He was in NXT, and they just didn't. I guess they didn't see anything in him.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
No, I don't understand. You have a big. I mean, so he's a big guy. He's athletic. If he was doing all that stuff that he can do now back in NXT with the flips and the shit, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that you can even say, I don't care about his gimmick. He's that good,
right?
That you can overlook it. I'd like to see a Jungle Boy Christian feud. Yeah, I think that would be a great feud.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I don't think it's going to be right away. I think it's another one of those. Fortunately, AEW likes to do slow burn storylines and give them time to breathe, and they don't just rush this, because it would have happened in like 3 weeks in WWE, and they would have been, they would
3 weeks. I think you're being gracious.
And then they would have had a match at day 1 or whatever. Like it would have been rushed.
3 weeks. I think you're being gracious.
But looking forward to what they're going to do with Jungle Boy. Up next, Merry Hookmas, everybody. I hope my fellow hookers out there enjoyed that match.
And I was fist pumping about Hook when you said hookers. Okay, I take my arm down now.
The undefeated Hook beat Bear Bronson via Red Rum. Another tap. There were 3 tap outs in this Rampage. That's pretty cool. Choked him out. He did the Taz play. I mean, Bear Bronson's huge, and Hook. Not that he's a smaller guy, but he's ripped. He's in very good shape. Was able to pick up and do the head and arm Tazplex and a fisherman, a Northern Lights or a fisherman's. Like he was doing all kinds of suplexes just like his pops. Kicked out of the Rikishi driver, which set the internet aflame. Everybody got their Jim Cornette hats on and started complaining. Whatever. We're presenting this guy as. First of all, for a little backstory, Taz had his neck broken by a pile driver from, I want to say, Bam Bam Bigelow. When he came back, they did a spot where Bam Bam did a pile driver on Taz, and he no-sold it and sat up like the Road Warriors would do when they took a pile driver. For those of you who don't know, this is a very old gimmick. It's not just hooks. This is not brand new. The Road Warriors even began this shit back in like the 80s. They'd take a pile. For some reason, every other move they would go down, clothesline, whatever, they would go down and sell. But there was whether it was their necks, they had a strong neck or whatever it was, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them, would no-sell pile drivers. When Taz came back from neck surgery, he no-sold pile drivers. It started off with Bam Bam, but then it became a thing within ECW. And now Hook, his son, has taken that gimmick on. And it's not like, it's not like he's kicked out of the goddamn tombstone pile driver from The Undertaker. It was Bear Bronson's Rikishi driver. I mean, even if Rikishi hits you with a Rikishi driver, there's a 99% chance you're going to kick out. Who did he ever beat with a Rikishi driver? Nobody. So it doesn't really matter if Hook no-sold one pile driver in his second match. God forbid. They're selling this guy like a Goldberg. They're selling him like a a wrecking machine. He's got a very specific set of skills of what he can do now. Although he did show he can sell. He showed that if he can bump, he can, when he got backed up in the corner and beat up a little bit, he had good reaction. Like, he's good at that. But right now they're focusing on like the strikes and the submissions and the suplexes and all that. He's got to look unbeatable for now. And if he has to no-sell a pile driver from essentially a job guy, like, no offense to Bear Country, I think they're very, very good, and they're going to be a player in the tag team division eventually, but it's just not their time right now. Their number is going to get called. Right now, it's Hook's time. So I have no problem with what he did with that pile driver. It goes back to Taz anyway, and it's harmless. It's fucking pro wrestling. If you pile drove somebody in the UFC, they'd be fucking dead. So what do you want him to do? You want him to like be in a wheelchair next week? So whatever. Hook is great. Taz is great on commentary when his son is in there, because he worked this match out with Hook beforehand, so he knows the names of every single move. So whatever suplex he's doing or whatever tackle or judo throw, Taz already knows the name, and he throws it out there. And I love that because it sells it like a sport. Wrestling is supposed to be a simulated sport. And when somebody like Taz calls things by their real names, judo throws and wrestling holds and all that, like he had Hook locked in an old sugar hold, and that's like a key lock and an key lock and a bow and arrow at the same time. And that's an old school, like 1930s hold. Nobody really like legit shooters would put on the sugar hold to tap people out. To like test them out. Like if you were a new guy, they would put you in the sugar hold and try, or like if you were getting disciplined, Stu Hart would put him in the sugar hold and make him tap out. It's very cool what they're doing with Hook. I don't think he should be challenging for a title right now. I hope they don't, Tony Khan saw what they did with the Fiend, where they pushed him too hard, too fast. This is the right speed for Hook. It's the B show at 10 o'clock on a Friday night.
Agreed.
It's the right spot for him. It's like, this is fine. He's not main eventing pay-per-views yet. It's just, let's keep him where he is, build him up, and I think eventually down the line, just based on the music, the presentation, the way he comes out with his attitude, he's another guy. TNT title, very soon. Or take the FTW title from Ricky Starks and then have a few with, him and Ricky Starks. Whatever. I mean, it's the future is bright for Hook.
Yeah, I agree. That kid's an absolute superstar.
He just carries himself so well. Like he's got that like Vince McMahon walk to the ring, and he doesn't face his opponent. He walks out before the referee can raise his hand. It's all very cocky. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very much a big fan. He's gonna go a very long way.
I can't wait. Like it started off as a joke because he was like in the background and didn't do anything and didn't wrestle for a year. And it was like, oh man, when Hook comes out, he's going to be awesome. And kind of thinking, like in your back of your mind, like this guy's not going to be any good. No, he's fucking good. He lived up to the hype that the internet put onto him, which usually never happens.
No, well, and partially internet's fault because sometimes they make it completely unachievable. Yeah, exactly. They'll never meet expectation.
Right. Last but not least for Rampage is the most controversial matchup of the night. TNT champion versus Sammy Guevara facing the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. And after a series of crossroads, the tease of a pedigree turned into a Tiger Driver 98. Cody Rhodes pins Sammy Guevara to regain the TNT championship. The only person to hold it for three different title reigns. The title was presented to him in North Carolina by David Crockett Jr., which is a very cool moment to have David Crockett Jr. hand over a belt to Dusty's son. And, that's all great. But at the same time, Cody is he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing.
There was a funny meme. There was a funny meme that came out, and it says Cody Rhodes, and he's holding the mic in the ring, and he says, I'm not looking to ever be the world champion because, I want to give it, to the other guys or whatever. But I'm going to just continue to win the TNT title instead, or something like that. Listen, I don't have a problem with it, quite honestly. I really don't. I think Cody deserves a title. If it wasn't for Cody, we wouldn't have what we have right now. He's a big, big reason. And, Guevara, listen, I'm a fan of Guevara too. I think he could have deserved a longer run. I'll say that, but
yeah, for sure.
Definitely. But it was a good match.
It was, and Sammy's very good. He put on a series. People are saying, "Oh, Sammy's run was kind of lackluster," but really, like, I don't know. I saw him wrestle whoever he wrestled in Boston. Fantastic. Like, I watched his whole reign and his title defenses against like Bobby Fish and the Men of the Year and all that. Like, he's good. He's real good. I don't know if he's necessarily a baby face. I think he's probably better as a heel. But yeah, I agree. He could probably have held that title for longer. I think the problem was not the problem. The show is moving to a new network where Cody Rhodes has a reality show on. So they wanted Cody to have the belt going into the new year on the new channel to promote the show that's coming on after. It kind of sounds like something WWE would do, but also
I was going to say that's such a McMahon move.
Why they would do it.
Right.
It's a business decision, period.
And it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. I didn't have a problem with him winning. I didn't have a problem with the match. The only thing I'll concur, like I said, I would have loved to have seen Sammy have a longer reign, but business-wise, I understand why they did it the way they did. But it was one hell of a match.
Oh, absolutely. And, people talk shit about Cody. He wrestles his ass off every single time.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the problem is with Cody. I really don't.
It's one of those. He was when he first was in AEW. I mean, that match with him and Dustin, he was such a big baby face like the whole time through, like 2019, even into 2020. Then something happened where the crowd was just like, "Oh, we're sick of this guy." They I don't know. There's like this thing about the Cody verse. Like it's his own universe where he books his own shows. I see that, Tara. I don't even know if we're gonna put that on the screen, but yeah. Maybe I'm biased for Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry.
He ain't my friend. I don't know him.
Right? See, there are people that don't know him that like him.
Cody happens to be a very nice guy.
Like a 50-50, 60-40 kind of split where like part of the crowd was really heavily booing him, and the other part of the crowd was like, Cody did nothing wrong. It was pretty great. So, it's an interesting kind of reaction he's getting. And I think this is the last thing I'll make, and I'll let you get back into it, Steve. If it ends up that Cody, like he did with Darby, like he did with Brody Lee, if Cody puts over somebody new for the TNT title, like Jungle Boy, hell yeah, it's all worth it.
And Cody is the kind of guy that will have no problem putting over one of the younger guys, especially somebody like Jungle Boy, who's been there from the get-go, who has just shown so much improvement. You can't say enough about the kid.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, because I know we're talking AEW stuff, and I know we started with Smackdown, but I don't think we've talked about Sting, CM Punk, Darby Allin.
We didn't get there yet.
Oh, wow. How did
that was Dynamite.
We never got to Dynamite.
Oh, shit. All right, we'll talk about that.
Well, there's a couple things, too. We not only do we have that we have to cover. That face paint, by the way, was fucking amazing.
Exactly.
But we now also have the Undisputed Elite. So
that's crazy. Freaking Riley.
Yeah, so big fucking doings.
But you're not happy.
Well,
not happy.
This is gonna be one hell of a story to tell.
Yeah. By the way, I think that was my friend Jesse saying that Cody sucks, not Tara. I'm assuming that was Jesse because nobody. Yeah. Anyway, it was really interesting to see the crowd because the crowd saw Kyle O'Reilly come in and like hide and duck down, so the crowd was all like cheering for it. And then when he finally popped up on camera, there was another big pop. the three guys, Fish, Cole, and O'Reilly, stood in the middle of the ring the same way the Undisputed, and it looked like they were standing there and they were doing that thing where they kind of got ready to do the Undisputed pose, and then the Young Bucks came in, and then Adam Cole kind of backed up. He looked at them, looked back at the rest of the Undisputed Era, looked back at them, and Cole is caught in the middle. He's like, guys, isn't this great? Like, all of my best friends are here. And his best friends don't like his other best friends. So we are in trouble.
Can't wait for this kind of trouble, man.
Yeah. They even had a little bit of progression for the story on being the Elite, where Adam Cole came into the locker room supposedly after Dynamite went off the air and went over the Young Bucks in their locker room, said, hey guys, what do you think of my surprise? Bobby Fish arranged the whole thing to get Kyle, he's the one that got Kyle in contact with AEW to get him signed. It's going to be great. We're going to be a great faction. And then all the Young Bucks did was say, we'll talk to you later, Adam. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And then just walked away. And Adam Cole stood there like, what's happening? So they're going to be together, quote unquote, as a team for a little while, I'm sure. But this is going to come to a head quicker than you think. I think by Revolution, we'll probably have Young Bucks versus Undisputed. I don't know what they're going to call them, though. They can't call them the Undisputed Era. Do they just call them the Undisputed? Do they give them another name? I don't know what they do.
Can they be the Undisputed Elite? Probably. You know what I mean? Undisputed, they can't trademark. So
right.
They should be able to use
Not
it.
Just right. They could probably use that, but not the whole. They can't call them Undisputed Era.
It was so great to see the three of them back together again.
It was.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because even that, now you think, the way NXT 2.0 is, the way the guys that they're featuring on the show, there's no room. As much as they were the pillars of the original Black and Gold NXT, there's not a spot for any of those three guys on the current show right now. And even Ciampa feels weird being there because it's like he's the only old guy and everybody else, literally old, he's a little bit older than me. He's in his 40s, but he's friggin' bald and he's got gray hair. And everybody else there is 19 and 20 and 23 years old. It's not that he should go to, I'm not saying everybody should go to the AEW, but it's just weird to think that those guys who are now in AEW were holding up that show for so long, for years, and they're just like, hey, we're rebranding tie-dye colors, and you don't fit into our current scheme.
So stupid.
Yeah.
I don't even watch NXT anymore.
No.
I think the last I watched was Dexter Loomis's wedding.
I can't tell you the last time I watched NXT.
I tried to watch War Games and I was bored out of my freaking skull. How are you supposed to be bored out of War Games?
Yeah, I don't know.
Undisputed.
I don't particularly like. There's the guys
I don't know how I feel about that
Observer Live had a point that the NXT characters feel like people playing characters. You don't believe that the Italian guy's really a mobster. The guy that's supposed to be Coach Bobby Knight, you don't believe he's an actual coach or a professor or any. First of all, the guy looks like he's 19 years old, fresh out of high school, and he's supposed to be he's literally, I don't know, for those of you who, there's a certain age limit, Google the name Bobby Knight. He was a famous basketball coach. He's still alive. I just don't think he's coaching anymore. And notably,
I remember Bobby Knight.
Character, the guy's doing.
Yeah.
He'd throw chairs.
Yeah, he'd throw him right on the court
during games and shit. And
the John McEnroe of basketball.
Right, and it was just so they're trying to copy that. But he was always an old grizzled guy doing that shit. He was never a young guy. And just to have this young guy pretending to be Bobby Knight is so they all feel. There was a girl out there, one of them qualified for the U.S. national gymnastics team and competed in the world championships. And another girl was in the WNBA, and they give them new names and fake names and fake backstories. It's why don't you? This girl was in the WNBA. That's a big deal. Talk about she talks about it, but if you Google her WWE name, her basketball achievements aren't going to come up. And if you Google her real name, her WWE achievements aren't really going to come up. So sell that these people are. It should be WWE was able to get these people out of their comfort zone. We get professional athletes from all over the world. Look, we got a WNBA player. We've got a gymnast who was on the U.S. national team. Promote that. Don't just give them a silly name like, Nikki Nuka and send her out there to do some stupid talk show. Like, I don't even know. Like, and then, the poor girl. That poor girl had a terrible match.
Yep.
Oh, I feel so bad.
I heard about it. I didn't even see it.
I didn't even. I mean, I can't. I can't. There's nothing worse. Like, I like bad wrestling matches sometimes when they're funny. But then there's wrestling matches that are so bad. It's like a movie. There's bad movies, but then there's bad movies that are so bad.
And then there's bad movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, shit. We made it to the top of the hour there, Steve. Anything else we need to talk about?
Sting and CM Punk.
Oh, yes. That was. I don't know if you saw.
I mean, really, the thing to talk about is the face paint. The face paint was out of control. It was so good.
It was great because
they
both Darby and Punk paid homage to Sting with their face paint. Darby did like a pink and black version of the almost kind of like half Surfer Sting, half Crow. Punk came out in the USA face paint that Surfer Sting wore in, was it 88 or 89 in Greensboro for a match against Flair, and had Sting tights, like he had special tights made to look like Sting's old tights from back in the day.
With the scorpions and everything.
To cap it all off, the legend himself, Sting, came out with a variation of his usual face paint that was the lightning bolts under his cheeks from CM Punk's t-shirt, and then on his forehead were the crossed taped fists, which is like with the X's on the back. And it was like, I don't know who
awesome.
did that, and I don't know how long it took them, but it looked really fucking cool.
It's fucking phenomenal.
And they had a fun match. They gave them plenty of time. They gave those guys like 20, 30 minutes. MJF wouldn't tag into CM Punk. CM Punk chased him out.
That was hilarious.
Like, it was wild. Sting, the baby faces get the victory, and Punk looked genuinely emotional after the match, understanding what a big wrestling fan he is, to be in Greensboro, in that building, wrestling with Sting.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
That's a Cinderella story right there.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, you'd never think in 1,000 years. First of all, Darby Allin, who knew him until AEW, and then Sting and CM Punk, two guys you both thought were done and retired and would never wrestle again. It's amazing. So what a story. I love watching AEW. It flies by in a way that Raw doesn't. So
yeah, for sure.
Nice change of pace. But
I don't want to jinx it, but I would actually probably enjoy a 3-hour show of AEW.
Yeah, but I wouldn't push it. Tony Khan said he would never go to 3 hours.
As I said, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah.
Yeah, he said he would never actually do it. Like they wanted, I think at one point they wanted him to do 3 hours because the ratings are so good. He's like, dude, we're not doing that. That's
good.
That's like
good.
The opposite. That's the way to kill ratings.
He needs to stick to his guns.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we are at the top of the hour here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the War Report brought to you by Tag Me a Date. You can go to our social media platforms, which is at Tag Me a Date. That's Tag Me a Date, no spaces. It's all one word. Same thing on YouTube. You go to youtube.com, type Tag Me a Date, all one word in the search bar. You'll find our channel where you can subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications for when we go live or when we upload new videos. You can check our archive of shows on there as well. If you prefer to watch on Periscope/Twitter, it's at Tag Me a Date. Same thing on Facebook. Look for at Tag Me a Date. And on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/War Report. And again, that's all one word, twitch.tv/War Report. You can also go and download the audio versions rather than the video live streams or video live stream archives. If you prefer the audio version, go to your podcast app of choice. Apple Podcast, Google Play Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify. Just look for either at Tag Me a Date or the War Report. I will let you know that there is a second newcomer to the podcast game from 2020, also called the War Report. Make sure you see when you click on it, our icon very, very clearly says the War Report, and then tagmeadate.com or Tag Me a Date in some form should be at the top of the graphic. And our logo looks like
one of the old school Raw logos. So if you see that, that's the one. Subscribe. The audio feed gets uploaded within the hour after we go off the air. So we go off the air at 7 p.m. And by 8 p.m., that new MP3 will be uploaded to your mobile device or tablet. So that'll do it for this week. We're going to be back live streaming 6 p.m. on Eastern Time next Tuesday evening. So hopefully we'll see you then. If you enjoy the show, tell your friends, spread the love, share the good word of the War Report, and we will be back next week for another episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great week.